2 Samuel chapter number 11. We'll start the reading from verse 1. 2 Samuel chapter number 11 from verse 1. And and it came to pass after the year was expired, at the time when kings go forth to battle. All right? That David sent Joab and his servant with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon. So this was the kind of battles that kings go for, because the sovereignty of their kingdom is threatened. So the reason why David was able to see what he saw here was because when he ought to be in the battlefront, he was relaxing. So David is still at Jerusalem. Verse 2 now. And it came to pass in an evening tide that David arose from his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself. And the woman was very beautiful to look upon. He went on to describe. There's a very serious principle for honor in life. You want to live your life in honor? Go where you are told to go and do what you are told to do, period. That's the principle. Go where you are told to go, do what you are told to do. Go where you are told to go, do what you are. It's not difficult. It's not difficult. Don't hard. Go where you are told to go, do what you are told to do, period. Why did David not go to battle? And let me tell you, you are most likely going to fall the moment you start becoming big in your own sight. Many of you are too quick to remove the memorials of your wilderness days. You are too quick to forget where God took you from. The days you could not even afford Gary, could you afford to book an hotel for a girl? How can God bring you out of that? And what you are thinking about now is to use the precious blessings of God to satisfy your own lust. Don't forget when you were small in your own eyes and God brought you up by himself. Deuteronomy chapter number 4. Chapter number 8 now. Let's start the reading from verse 4. Deuteronomy 8 from verse 4. Deuteronomy 8 from verse 4. Is it from verse 2 now? And thou shalt remember the way which the Lord your God led you. All right, 2. Led you these 40 years in the wilderness. So don't forget your wilderness days. Don't forget your wilderness days. Before you became this big man of God, those friends that you were fasting together, hey, now you are big. But don't be quick to break that place because you want to prove that you're a big man. You will get lost without remedy. You should remember all the way which Lord your God led you these 40 years in the place, to humble you, to prove you, to know what is in your heart, whether you will keep his commandment or not. Meaning that your wilderness days is not a waste. Don't mourn it. The experience, the pain of when you have to wait to see answers is important. Keep it as a memorial. So that when you start feeling bigger than you remember where God took you from. Do you still remember where God took you from? Do you still remember the season that what you have now was a prayer point? The season that you look at a day like today and you never really thought it could happen. More is not bad. But once it detaches you from the memory of the wilderness days, it will destroy you. Grow old, but don't lose your childlikeness. Remain that baby before God. One who trembles at iniquity. One who fears. Lift your hand and say, I remember. No, let me ask you, do you remember? Now let me ask you, do you remember? Do you remember where God picked you from? Do you remember? I do. I always remember. And when I remember, my heart trembles. That's why I share this story. In fact, you start knowing that you have problem when you start denying your own stories. Last year, Sphere of Light Church was not like this. The day we have 20 people on a Sunday morning, that's a blessing. And we come down on the street of Wuye, and myself will be walking and praying. God, we know you sent us here. When things begin to happen, I will not forget the consecration of those days. Anything can grow, but I'm still that child. Let God open the door of how many nations? I am still that child you found. If you master this principle, there's no door that won't open to you. God will be able to trust you much more. When people start becoming big, they start trimming off the voice of correction from their life so that they can do what they want to do. Don't be like that. Now, he said, to know what is in your heart, whether you will keep his commandment or no. Now, look at verse 3. Quickly, media. And he humbled you, and suffered you to hunger, and fed you with manna which you know not, neither did your fathers know, that it might make you know that man does not live by bread only, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Meaning that your wilderness days was a school. It was a school where God wants to know that the most important thing you live with is the word. I beg you. I beg fathers. I beg mothers. I beg young boys. I beg young girls. I beg those who are divorced, those who are about to think. There are consequences. The moment you choose a direction, you can no longer stop the consequence. There are consequences. Ultimately, God is the lifter of men. Nobody can lift anybody. Only God, who sees the intent of the heart, does. If we live that life that is pure before him, he will in no time lift us. And even if it doesn't, yet we will not deny him. There are consequences. The day I stood at the altar with my wife, and they said, do you accept this woman as your lawful wedded wife, to hold and to cherish, to love and to do all that till death do you part? And you said, I do. That's not a small word. There are consequences to that statement. When you say I do, stay by it. There is grace. I said there is grace.